Hey there, Dango Stu here. Today's video is about preparing to go for our first scuba dive of the season and is proudly sponsored by MarineEngine.com. As you know from the trip to Sydney, there was a huge list of things I needed to get done on the boat, and I started a few of those. But this week I tried to focus on the stuff I needed to do to get ready to go for our first scuba dive, because that's the plan for this weekend. Of course, having said all that, the unrelated job I had to do was finish up the wiring for the nav lights, because I'd already started that. First job I'm going to do back in the boat now is get this wiring finished so we can get these roof panels back in. These two wires are the nav lights. I'll show you how they're routed now in a second. I installed the lights before I went, mad rush at night actually, and then I ran the wires through with a temporary wire just so I could get power to them. Now I'm going to run them permanently to a switch. Alright, just wire these port and starboard lights in parallel. This is the wire I'm going to run forward to the switch. Sun's slowly going down, but working nav lights. Oh, finally. At the moment with the switches it's just anchor light and then side lights. Down the track I'll probably make this just do all running lights and keep this as just anchor light. Oh, there you go. Go on, some left. There you go. Alright, you can have some too. Alright, go back to hunting in nature. You're not becoming pets. I've already got two big mouths to feed. That's enough. Goodbye you. Goodbye you. Hopefully, finally this week, Paul and I are going to get out and do a dive around this area here, sort of vaguely between Renko and the tug over there, to find this lost anchor. I know Paul's pretty exhausted at the moment too, working 5 days a week as a mechanic, so hopefully we'll find the energy to get out there on Saturday. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for it on Friday, so I'll be filming that, but it'll go in the following video so it's all together. And if I do find it on the sonar, I'm going to put this large orange float out, this buoy. So I'm going to rig that up with a weight and a pulley, and get it ready to go in about 10 meters of water, and I'll drop that so that come Saturday morning we're good to go. Had to use quite a large shackle, and even then it's tight to get through the eye on this buoy. Then I had to reduce it because I couldn't get this one through the pulley. This is just stainless wire. Apparently monel wire is kind of the bee's knees for this, but you know, this isn't critical. It's just a buoy going in the water for a few days. No big deal. All I tend to do at the end here is take these ends and poke them into the hole on the clevis pin so that they're not something you can stab yourself with. There we go, so no sharp end anymore. Now that's actually going to be a good search line. It's nice and thin, easy. This rope here, okay, I think I did this as a tow rope from the green machine. Let's use this one. Speaking of tow ropes, I've actually got a friend, Pete, who's been in one video a while ago, a long time ago, and he's got an old Halverson down in Sydney that needs towing to the river. So we might be making another trip down to the harbour, grabbing his boat and towing it back up. I'm going to need to measure out both the float ropes and the search ropes, so let's just mark 1 metre on this table. There we go. So yes, low tide, roughly where this anchor is, 8.8 metres, which means we're going to have 10 metres at high tide. And that's a pretty common depth around the river. This is my ship's log for Renko, so I'll just draw it in the back here. They're nice leather bound, quite thick. Saw it online somewhere, and they print the boat name on the back for you, which is kind of cool. Should last forever, given how many pages it's got. But let's draw it in the back. Okay, here's the setup. Our orange buoy, pulley on the bottom. Got our main weight here, which is that one under the blue rope there. And there's a sash weight there. And that sash weight's going to go here. Now, we were saying roughly, so we average, it's not, obviously, it just depends where we are, but we average, say, 8 to, let's even call it 15 metres. If the rope is 16 metres long, it means that by the time this weight's on the bottom, we've got 8 metres both ways. So that's kind of our minimum. And by the time this weight is right up here at the pulley, we've got 16 metres. And I think that kind of covers the range pretty well. So let's do that. 14, 15, 16, and a loop. Okay. I do have my hot knife, but I don't have my inverter working yet, so let's just use the good old lighter. Gotta say, I like this lighter. Really good for doing heat shrink, rope, all that kind of stuff. More of a little blowtorch than a lighter, really. Then I usually just cut into the lay of the rope 3 ways to separate them. Probably splice about yay. Sometimes I don't mind just putting a bit of tape where you've decided you're going to stop, just so it doesn't unravel anymore. Only tricky thing about splicing really is starting. Once you've started, each gap in the standing part between these two will have 1 in, 1 out. 1 in, 1 out, 1 in, 1 out. Then after that, keep tucking. Got a video on it, separate video on it. I'll put that in the description. Then all you gotta do is just keep rotating round, round, round and round. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna put a hook at this end too, but I'm gonna put it on with a shackle because it's a bit tight to get it through and just keeps it versatile. This pulley doesn't open, so the other end I'm going to feed through before we splice a carabiner onto the other end too. If for whatever reason this pulls out of the lead or anything here comes undone, we can't lose the buoy or the position we've marked because none of this can fit through the pulley anyway. So it'll just go to its maximum length and float there. Alright, this is the other end that we drilled and put the eye bolt in many videos ago. I'm going to have this stainless ring here. Then once this is on the bottom, we've marked our position as close as we can get it on sonar. We'll clip our search line on and start doing our circular search from what we believe to be the centre of the search area. Final tweaks to our search weight. I'm now just tightening this nut against the bottom, which I'll show you in a second. We now have a nut tight against the bottom here with a washer there, washer at the top, just big enough so that our, actually I should have put the big washer there, never mind, too late, it's fine, it can't come off. And on the bottom, I drilled a hole just a little bit small on the nut and then literally just hammered it into the lead. And now they're tight against each other, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Because I want to use the sonar to find the rock that I believe this anchor is stuck on, that Paul and I are going to be looking for on the weekend, I want to get the external aerial for the Raymarine connected. That way, when I see it on the sonar, or what I suspect to be it on the sonar, I can touch the screen, it'll automatically put a waypoint on that part of the sonar where the object is, which is awesome. After that, I can navigate back to that waypoint and drop the marker buoy. So, here's the old one. We'll just wind it off. And I'd already cut the wire, I was just using it as a you know, plugged, stop rain going in. Let's unscrew this so I can drill this hole big enough to get the actual plug for the Raymarine GPS antenna through, and then we'll probably put some Sikaflex, screw it back on, redo it. These are the nav lights, not finished yet. A few people said, can you flip them over? No, you can't. They're sealed units. The lenses don't come off. Oh, they're on. That's right, I was testing fuses. If you flip them over, they're facing backwards. They're sectored lights. They have to face forwards. They face from 2 points above the beam to straight forward. Anyway, still want to put some more Sikaflex here. This is a bit of a primer for the steel where I drilled. And these are the cable glands that should stop any water going down. But if it does, all it actually does is drip onto the deck. This had a pretty minimal bead of silicone around it, but it doesn't look like it's leaked at all, so it's a good sign. Alright, plenty of room. Okay, let's get some paint here so this doesn't rust and we get a good seal against the top of the wheelhouse. Alright, let's see if we can get this down through here and then down through the ceiling too. Ah, cool, no dramas. Came through all right. Just going to put some Sikaflex around this edge. Oops. And then we'll do a bead around the outside too, just to be on the safe side. Let's put a little bit in each screw hole too. Alright, get a glove and a bit of dishwashing liquid. Just smooth that bead off. Gonna tape up the thread and then paint the whole thing to seal it even more. In order to neaten the last of the cables going up to the Raymarine, I need to get some more slack in the Real Vision side scan transducer cable, so I'll push that through now. It's actually easier to look through the window than to jam my head in the back. That top left is the GA150, which is the GPS aerial. Alright, looks like single pin outer core and threaded. Nice and snug, and a rubber boot over where this cover came up from. May as well keep this. Alright, we've now got the GPS aerial cable through. So I'm just going to, we've got one cable tied up here, another one here. I can't fit all three, I can't actually even fit two of them into one holder, so I may actually end up just cable tying them to each other. We'll see. I think that'll be fine. Certainly look a lot neater than it was. Got a little bit of silicone grease here. Just going to put that on the O-ring and then we'll thread it on.
Okay, all I need to do now is find the little bolts that go under there. I've got a sample of the thread, so if I can't find them, I must buy some more. But it's not going to go anywhere. It's locked in side to side. It'll keep any rain out until I get them. So there we go. External GPS aerial. Finished result. Got the Raymarine wires all pinned to this upright, lighting wires down here, and the GPS down here and under and up. Couldn't get it across the top here because there's longitudinal steel that comes this way until a certain point, so you can't get this way and you can't get that way, so that'll do. It's pretty much how it used to go, and I'm happy with that. So no more wires dangling everywhere, which is nice. Speaking of tidying up, you'll be pleased to know that I've penciled in for Sunday to finally clean the workshop as well. Well, I say penciled in because I actually couldn't find a pencil because the workshop was too messy, so I'm hoping that when I see a blank day in the diary, I'll remember that it's blank because I couldn't find a pencil because the workshop was messy, and that'll remind me to clean it. That's the plan. Okay, let's fire up the Raymarine and see how we go with our new aerial. So, chart. Certainly picked us up straight away for our location. Wasn't doing that when it was the internal receiver trying to read through the steel roof, so looks like that's a win. So if we go to data sources, search unified depth, no, so we go to GPS. Oh, cancel that. Oh, cancel GPS. Do a refresh. So, searching for devices that provide GPS. My understanding is that it's still the internal GPS receiver. We just now have an external aerial. So, yeah, it's still internal. So, value in use, plus or minus 0.3 of a meter. So, I think that's pretty good. If this was an entirely separate receiver on NMEA or something like that, it would show up as a different source, but ultimately it still is the internal receiver, just external aerial. Okay, done. Nice, that was easy. Well, thanks for watching. We did go for the dive, but we didn't find the anchor. And that's fine, you know, I think it's going to be a long search, and we're going to learn a lot about searching this type of terrain along the way. All our standard sort of disciplined, organised search techniques don't work in a really rocky, undulating environment. So we're going to start, you know, putting thinking caps on and finding ways to do that better in the future, because we're not giving up. Those of you with sharp eyes may have noticed a few glimpses of paraphernalia from doing the metal detecting, particularly to do with cleaning and investigating the objects I've found. Those searches so far have been on the beaches around the river, because I'm still really trying to get my head around the Minelab Excalibur on land so I can see what's going on and do it easily. I actually used it on the dive and it went really well, so I'm very happy with that, but I'm still trying to sort of, you know, really get my ear in and my eye in with it. I'm going to do a midweek video on that because, yes, it's not strictly marine until we start doing the underwater dives, and we have plenty of those planned, but I figure rather than sort of replacing the boating videos with that, I'd do it as an extra so people don't feel that they've missed out on their boating video, but they can see what's been happening. Not to mention the fact that because it's on the river, we're out there and there's some really beautiful places to go detecting, so you'll get to see other parts of the river at the same time. So this week was actually really busy, got loads of footage, lots of editing to do now. Detecting next, hopefully midweek, and then I'll show you the dive we did on the weekend. All right, well, take care, I'll catch you then. See ya. Here's the start of the work, redoing the steps. Getting there. Thank you to Rocky for his hard work, and Vicky, she's been helping a lot too. D-squad pecking the garden. There you go. Have some rice to add to the interest. No, you found something good there, haven't you? It's funny, they come after you for food, but once they find something on their own, there's no distracting them. On a mission. Are you mooning us, Daffy? Leave her alone. Such a bully. Oi, oh, I see.
being attacked by the miners. That's it, go for the rice, easy pickings.
Rainy day. Yeah, rainy day. Getting building materials across on Danga.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect.